Hi guys, welcome back to the Home and Homestead. If you're new to the channel, I'm Rebecca. Today we'll be heading to the kitchen and making a delicious summer soup. We'll be making tomato rhubarb soup. This is a wonderful recipe that my mother-in-law shared with me, and it's a great way to use rhubarb in a totally different way. You can serve this soup hot, warm, or cold. If you serve it cold, then it would be rhubarb gazpacho. We'll be combining some rhubarb with some other delicious ingredients, including a number of fresh herbs. So let's head to the kitchen and make some tomato rhubarb soup or rhubarb gazpacho. All right, so let's make our tomato rhubarb soup. So in a nice sized Dutch oven, I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of olive oil or avocado oil, whatever you prefer. And to that I'm going to add 2 cups of rhubarb. So you can use fresh rhubarb or frozen rhubarb. I have some frozen rhubarb that I just thawed overnight in the refrigerator. And on a medium-high heat, what we're going to do is saute our rhubarb with about 1 cup of a chopped onion. Ends up being about 1 medium-sized onion. So we'll let this cook for a bit until the onions and rhubarb are nice and tender. Now that the onion and rhubarb is nice and tender, now we can add some garlic. So I'll add 2 teaspoons of garlic. That's if you get the pre-minced garlic. If you're going to be using fresh garlic, it would be about 4 cloves minced up. We're going to stir that through and just allow this to saute and cook until that garlic becomes nice and fragrant. And then we'll add a ½ teaspoon of paprika. Just kind of stir that around with our ingredients to wake up that paprika. And then we're going to add a ½ cup of combined fresh herbs. I have basil, mint, parsley, rosemary, and thyme. If you don't have fresh herbs, you could do a ½ teaspoon of dried herb of each of those varieties. That's a really great combination. So when I prepare my fresh herbs for the basil and mint, I just remove the leaves from the stems and I put them in a pile and roll them up, and then I slice them and coarsely run the knife through them. For the parsley and rosemary, I just remove them from the stems and coarsely chop them. And for the thyme, I just run my fingers down the stem, and that releases the little thyme leaves from that fresh herb. So we'll add all of our herbs in here. We'll toss this through. You can use whatever combination or varieties of fresh herbs you like. As I said, this is a really nice variety in combination with the basil, mint, parsley, rosemary, and thyme. I probably go the heaviest with the basil and the mint. Just do maybe a handful of basil, mint, and parsley, and a couple of sprigs of rosemary and thyme. Now we're going to add 1 29-ounce tomato sauce can, which would be the larger tomato sauce can you can buy in the store. Or if you make your own tomato sauce, you could do 2 pints or 1 quart. I'll be using my own home canned tomato sauce, so I have 1 pint of a roasted tomato sauce and 1 can or 1 pint of a regular tomato sauce. We'll just mix that through. You can really smell those fresh herbs. Next, we're going to add 3 cups of chicken stock. We'll mix that through. And then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of a vegetable dip mix. I know Knorr's makes a vegetable dip mix. If you freeze dry or dehydrate like I do, you can make your own homemade. It's just 2 tablespoons of that. Knorr's or brand varieties They come in little boxes and there's little envelopes of the dried vegetable dip mix. It's usually a combination of onion, celery, carrots, and tomato. And we'll stir that through. Next, we'll add 3 tablespoons of sugar. And we'll stir that in. Later I'll be adding some salt to taste, but first what we're going to do is bring this tomato rhubarb soup up to a simmer and allow this to simmer for 15 minutes. Alright, our tomato rhubarb soup has been simmering away. It smells absolutely wonderful. Now what we're going to do is use our immersion blender, and we're going to blend and puree this until we get the consistency that we want. If you don't have an immersion blender, you can also do this in batches in your blender or food processor. There we go. Now let's have a taste. You could add more salt and sugar to taste at this point, but I think this is spot on. So now I'm going to just let this cool just slightly, and I'll put some into a bowl and we can talk about some suggestions for how to serve and garnish. Alright, here we have our homemade tomato rhubarb soup. This is a really wonderful combination of rhubarb and fresh herbs from the garden. It's light and refreshing, has that tartness from the rhubarb, and then all those wonderful fresh herbs. This is wonderful hot, warm, or even cold. If you wanted to serve it chilled, a nice suggestion for presentation and how to serve it would be pre-portioned into maybe a small pitcher such as this, and you can keep those pitchers or little jugs on a tray in your refrigerator. And when it's time to serve, just place that pitcher next to a bowl on the table, or you can pour into each person's bowl. It's functional because it keeps your soup portioned and chilled, and it's a really beautiful presentation. I have some fresh herbs off to the side. You could put a sprig or two of a fresh herb on top as well for garnish, or you could do a dollop of creme fraiche or sour cream as well. Here's a closer look at the soup. It has a really rich, deep color to it, and those nice big pieces of fresh herb really shine through in this soup. So here's a wonderful example of a summer soup, and I hope you give this recipe a try. If you like more inspiration or ideas on summer sides and salads, you can check out a number of videos I have on the topic. And if you like to make your own freeze-dried or dehydrated vegetable dip mix such as we use today in this recipe, I have a number of videos on freeze drying and dehydrating as well. If you're new to the channel or haven't done so yet, I would really appreciate you subscribing, so be sure to hit that subscribe button below. And I hope you continue to watch my channel, The Home and Homestead, for some more homemade, homegrown, and home-style inspiration. If you enjoy this or any other video that you watch, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. I hope you're having a fantastic day. See you next time. Take care.